Do you have a Pakistan mulberry tree that hasn't fruited in the past few years? You watered it, you fertilized it, you talked to it, you hugged it, you gave it magical juices. You've done everything everybody else has told you what to do online, and yet you still have no fruits. Well, in today's episode, I'm going to be telling you why your tree hasn't fruited in the past few years, and the reason is going to shock you. Let's get started. Alright guys, before we get started, you need to understand something, and that is about tissue culture grown plants. If you're not familiar with tissue culture, that is just another way to propagate plants. These plants are normally growing in a sterile environment, such as a lab. They take a little piece of the root system of a plant, they put it in a little tube, and in a few months you get a brand new plant. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Well, check this out. These plants are identical, 100% clones from the mother plant. They are disease-free, virus-free, and they grow just like any other vegetatively grown plant, such as cuttings or grafted. So what is the main difference? Well, the main difference is these plants, for whatever reason, during the propagation process, they get their internal fruiting clock reset. They will behave as if they were grown from seed, even though they are identical clones from the mother plant, just like those grown from cuttings or grafted. But these plants will grow beautifully, they will grow huge, and they will not fruit for several years. So how do I know this, guys? How did I come about finding this out? Well, check this out. Back in the day when I wasn't proficient at propagating plants, I found this company that specializes in tissue culture plants. Brand new in the market, nobody has ever done it before, and they came in flats like this. So I bought a few flats. At the time, when the plants came in flats like this, they were about that size, so they were not ready for sale. So for a new grower, a nursery like mine, it was a great deal because that way I can grow my own plants, just wait a few months, and then I can sell them a lot cheaper than buying them from a wholesaler already potted and ready for sale. So we waited about 6 months or so and potted them up in 1-gallon containers. By the time they were about a foot tall, we went ahead and sold them. No issues, the plants were growing great until a year goes by. I got a few emails from a few customers saying that their plants were not fruiting. At the time, I did not know why. So I told them what I told any other customer, especially if it was a plant I wasn't that familiar with, right? I told them, just give it another year, and then if something happens, just come back and, I will take care of you. So another year goes by, year number 2. Now the same customers that complained in the year number 1 complained again. And also I had a lot more people complaining their trees were not fruiting. At this time, I put 2 and 2 together, guys, because it doesn't take me long to learn anything in gardening. So the only people complaining about their trees not fruiting were all those customers who purchased my tissue culture grown Pakistan mulberry trees. Once I figured it out, I actually stopped selling them because I didn't want to have any more issues, guys. Time is priceless, and people normally don't care about paying the money for a tree that's going to produce for them. So I stopped selling them. I posted on social media, anybody that has purchased a tree from me, they can come back and get a refund or a replacement tree, an actual tree grown from cutting or grafted that has fruit on it at the time of purchase. So, a lot of people chose to get a replacement. No big deal. I learned my lesson, and whatever trees I had left, I used them for rootstock, right? No loss there. I learned a lesson, and that's how you learn in gardening, guys. And then another year goes by, and a lot of the people that got a replacement tree, I told them not to pull the trees from the ground, because the weird part about this was the trees were not even flowering. At the beginning, a lot of people assumed they were getting male mulberry trees because they didn't have any fruits. But if you didn't know, even male mulberry trees will flower. The problem with the flowers, though, is they will not turn into full edible fruits. But you're still going to see the flowers. Now, on this tissue culture grown plants, they were not even flowering. So I knew something was up. So a lot of those people that got replacement trees from me, I told them, do not pull the trees from the ground. Just give them another year or 2 to see what they do. Because the trees were huge, guys. They were like, 10, 12 feet tall, growing great. They just didn't have any fruits. Now, year number 3 comes around, and actually, this one customer I've been talking to, his tree started fruiting. And that was a relief for me because Guys, I saw probably about 100 to 200 mulberry trees, and my name is worth a lot more than any money you can give me out there, because reputation goes a long ways, especially in the gardening business. But I was relieved. They started fruiting, and then year number 4 comes around, and then more trees started fruiting. So it was a relief, guys. So if you have a tree that is growing great, huge, but you have not seen any flowers in 1-2 years, you most likely have a tissue culture grown plant. And I was not the only one in the business selling them. Once I figured it out, I actually sent an email to the wholesaler, the company that specializes in tissue culturing, and they literally disregarded my email. They treated me like I didn't know what I was talking about, because they know best, because they sell millions of dollars worth of plants. So why would a small nursery know any better than they do, right? Well, the problem with this company is they grow tissue culture plants. They propagate them, but they don't really grow them to full size. And those Pakistan mulberry trees were a new product in the market, so nobody else had actually done it before, especially in mass quantities like they did. So they just disregarded my email, and then they said their trees were fine. And you know what I did? I simply stopped buying from them. Simple as that, guys, because I'm not going to support a company that does not stand behind their product, especially if it's screwed up. I had to do a lot of refunds. I lost money, so it wasn't really a good deal for me because of their screwed up. And now, the reason I'm bringing this up nowadays is because last year, I was running out of Pakistan mulberry trees. So I decided to buy 100 Pakistan mulberries from my wholesaler. Another wholesaler that I have been buying plants from since I started my nursery out in Florida. And then they sent me 100 Pakistan mulberry trees. But as soon as they came out of the semi-truck, I knew immediately they were not cuttings or grafted or air layers. They were all tissue culture grown plants. How can you tell a tissue culture grown plant from a regular plant? Well, when they're small, guys, let me see. I got one over here that's really small. Let me pull it out. Let me get the weeds in here so you can see. All right, you see this plant right here? Well, this plant last year was a lot smaller. And normally, if your Pakistan mulberry tree looks like a little sapling in a little container, and then about this thickness right here, which is really skinny, and they all look about the same, you got tissue culture grown plants. Now, one thing that you can actually notice on these plants, it's already been a year since I had these plants here, and that's why a lot of the plants are huge here. Once they actually get a lot bigger, there's no way to tell if they're actually tissue culture or vegetatively grown. But when they're small, you can. And I knew exactly because I grew the plant myself before. They have no fruits, guys. Look, they're all waking up now, and not a single fruit. Mulberry trees, when they start waking up, they will actually fruit immediately as soon as they start pushing growth. But you can see none of the trees in here have any fruits. And you know what I did as soon as those trees came out of the semi? Well, I sent an email to this wholesaler, and I told them, hey guys, you guys sent me tissue culture grown plants. These plants take several years to fruit, and people do not like to wait that long for fruits. People want fruits right away, especially on a plant that you can propagate very easily, and you will get fruits the same year. So you know what they told me? Okay, we'll make a note on it. Thank you. That's it, guys. So screw me, you know? So as far as they are concerned, they sold me Pakistan mulberry trees. And yet again, another huge nursery treating me like I don't know what I'm talking about. And you know what? That's the problem when you have to buy plants from other people. You have to just rely on what they sell you. And this time, they screwed up because I'm never buying Pakistan mulberry trees from them. This is why this year we actually started propagating the most Pakistan mulberry trees from cuttings, and we've done tons of grafts. I got videos coming up on that in a few months once the actual trees take and start fruiting. But now let's go and see the leftover trees that I have from last year. These trees right here are actually cuttings, and they're just starting to wake up. But all these trees right here were grown from cuttings, and as you can tell, we got fruits right here. You can see, as soon as the leaves open up, guys, they start fruiting. And this is what it's going to happen if you have a Pakistan mulberry or any other mulberry that was vegetatively grown, such as cuttings, grafted, or air layers. Even the little leaves there, you can see the fruits come out immediately. So if your trees are waking up right now, or they already woke up last year and you had no fruits, you most likely have a tissue culture grown Pakistan mulberry. Now, is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing, guys? Well, if you got a good deal, like you bought the tree at a discount, then obviously it's a good deal, if you don't mind waiting a few years for your tree to fruit. Another reason why your tree may take longer to fruit is because you have a seedling. Mulberry trees grown from seed will take several years before you see any flowers at all. But the difference between a Pakistan mulberry and one grown from seed is the leaves are going to be completely different. You can tell from a mile away just by looking at the leaves if you have a Pakistan mulberry tree or if you have a seedling grown one. Now, for those of you guys that refuse to acknowledge the truth, this is not my opinion. I'm not biased. This is the actual truth that I actually experienced, and it took me several years to figure this out myself, and nobody out there is actually telling you the truth. Everybody else out there is going to tell you water, fertilizer, or some stupid magical juice that you're going to spray on the tree that's going to make it fruit when it doesn't want to fruit yet. Now, for those of you that refuse to acknowledge the truth, the other 4 reasons why your Pakistan mulberry tree may not be fruiting right now is reason number 1, your tree is dead. Reason number 2, your tree is almost dead. Maybe the root system is alive, but guess what? There are no branches above the ground for the tree to fruit from. Reason number 3, you have a seedling mulberry tree, but like I said earlier, you can tell if you have a seedling just by looking at the leaves. And you can check my channel for Pakistan mulberry videos to actually compare your leaves to the leaves you see on my videos. And reason number 4, your tree most likely fruited already, but it was so small and you probably just put it in the ground that you missed the fruiting season. You probably only had a few berries, it was really windy, maybe your tree went dry on you, and guess what happens? Your fruits will drop immediately, and if you're not paying attention, they will dry up, fall to the ground, and then you won't even see them. So those are the only 4 reasons why your Pakistan mulberry tree or any other mulberry tree is not fruiting. It's that simple, guys. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you appreciate my research, actually I didn't even research this, it just happened, and I just paid attention, opened my eyes, and put it and connected the dots together. But anyways, if you appreciate my videos, guys, don't forget to like it so other people can actually see it, because the more people like the videos, the more it gets recommended, and people will actually get to see what true gardening is about. If you have any questions, comment below. And as always, I will see you next time.